So I want you to imagine this for a second. You are deep, deep in the Amazon. It's humid. You've been hiking for what feels like forever, and you stumble on this perfect, crystal clear stream.
Like something straight out of a movie.
Exactly. So, of course, you kick off your boots, you wade in to cool off, it feels amazing, and then you step on something.
And that paradise just immediately flips into a horror movie.
Right, and we're not talking about a sharp rock here. We're talking about a freshwater stingray. And in the source material we're looking at today, all from conservationist Paul Rosolie, this isn't just a sting. He calls it a mechanical flaying.
It is so visceral the way he breaks down the mechanics of the injury. It's just absolute nightmare fuel.
Go on.
Well, the barb on the ray's tail, it's not a needle. It's more like a serrated bone dagger. So when it goes into your foot, the ray starts to thrash. It just wags its tail back and forth.
Oh, wow.
So those serrations, they act like a steak knife, just shredding everything from the inside out.
He put the pain level at a solid 10. Said it felt like someone shoved a live electrical wire directly into his veins.
Which, creates this immediate crisis. You're miles from anywhere, you can't walk. This is where the story pivots and gives us this incredible insight.
The difference between our medicine and indigenous knowledge.
Exactly. He's there with local guides. He's in agony. He's thinking he's crippled for months.
And they don't call for a helicopter.
No, they don't panic. They just walk over to a specific tree, scrape off the bark, and boil it down into this thick, hot medicinal sludge.
A forest pus, he called it.
Yeah. And they slap that boiling hot mixture directly onto the open wound.
Which just sounds like adding torture on top of torture.
It really does. But here's the kicker. Paul Rosolie was walking again in 2 days.
2 days.
Compare that to a friend of his. Same injury, but he went the Western Route Hospital, antibiotics, all of it. He had permanent nerve damage and couldn't walk for 2 months.
That's a staggering difference. 2 days versus 2 months.
And that really sets the stage for what we're doing in this deep dive. We're looking at the Amazon through Rosolie's eyes. And, the mission here isn't just about cool survival stories. It's about understanding the tipping point of this whole ecosystem.
And the uncontacted tribes, the hiring of enemies.
It's a whole new way of looking at the forest.
So let's start by just throwing out that idea we all have of the Amazon. The rainforest sounds for sleep app.
Yeah, that gentle trickle of water, a few birds. It's a total myth. If you're in a real primary rainforest and it gets quiet, you should be terrified.
I'm terrified. Why?
Because true wilderness is loud. Rosolie calls it a throbbing chorus. It's deafening. You have the day shift, the macaws, the monkeys, the cicadas. Then around 4 p.m., that all stops and the night chorus begins.
Frogs, insects.
Millions of them. He says silence makes me sick. In the jungle, silence means a predator is right there. Or worse, the whole system is dying.
So noise is a sign of health.
Exactly. And we also have to adjust how we see it geometrically. We think of a forest as, the ground we walk on.
Like a park.
Right. But the Amazon isn't a park. Rosolie calls it an inverted ocean.
I loved that phrase. It really clicked for me. We're just bottom dwellers.
We are crabs scuttling on the seafloor.
Yeah.
The real show is 160 feet above our heads in the canopy. 50% of all the life there never, ever touches the ground. It's a completely three-dimensional world.
But the craziest part of that inverted ocean idea isn't the animals. It's the water. The flying rivers. I had to read the numbers on this 2 or 3 times.
It sounds like something out of science fiction, but it's the physics that keeps climate scientists up at night. Basically, every single tree in the Amazon is a giant water pump.
A geyser.
A biological geyser, yeah. Altogether, the trees lift about 20 trillion liters of water into the atmosphere every single day.
Okay, 20 trillion liters. That number is so big it's meaningless. Help me picture that.
It is more water floating in the air above the Amazon than is flowing in the actual Amazon River itself.
You're kidding me. The river in the sky is bigger than the biggest river on Earth.
That's right. And it creates this massive mist river that flows across the whole continent, creating rain, which feeds the forest, which makes more mist. It's a perfect self-sustaining machine.
But there's a but.
There's a but. It relies on having enough trees, on critical mass. We've already lost about 20% of the Amazon. The science suggests that if we lose much more, that pump it loses pressure.
The mist river breaks down.
It dries up, the rain stops, and the whole thing flips. The rainforest turns into a dry savanna.
You can't flip it back.
That's the dieback loop. It's an ecological point of no return.
Wow. Okay. That's heavy. Let's talk about the things living in that system for a minute. The predators. We have this image of a jaguar, right? Just this killing machine waiting behind every tree.
But the reality is often just Indifference. Rosalie tells this amazing story of seeing a wild tiger in India. It was his life's dream. And the tiger just looked right through him.
He said he felt like a sandwich I don't want.
Exactly. It's such a blow to our ego, right? We think we're the main character. To a predator, most of the time, we're just irrelevant.
Which leads to this whole philosophy he has. You are what you do.
Yeah, and the chicken analogy he uses is perfect.
It makes so much sense.
Think about a farm chicken. It's soft, it's fatty, it sits around all day. Now picture a village chicken in the Amazon that spends its whole life running from ocelots and snakes.
The meat's going to be totally different.
It's tough, it's cord-like, it's dense. The physical stress of survival literally changes its biology. He says it's the same with snakes. A pet boa is soft. A wild anaconda feels like a steel cable wrapped in leather.
It does make you look in the mirror and think, am I a farm chicken?
We are definitely trending toward farm chicken.
Yeah.
But the jungle has ways of reminding you of that. Let's talk about the bullet ants.
Oh, man. The top of the pain index. I've seen videos, people just collapse.
But it's not just the physical pain, it's the psychological warfare.
The feeling of impending doom.
Yes. The venom is chemically engineered to make you panic. It tricks your brain into thinking you are actively dying. Your heart races. You feel this overwhelming dread.
But why? What's the evolutionary advantage of that if the sting isn't actually fatal?
To make you leave. It's their border control policy. They're not trying to kill you. They're saying, if you mess with our home, we will make you feel like the world is ending so that you run away and never come back. It's purely defensive.
So we have this brilliant, brutal, incredibly complex ecosystem, and it's being cut down. This is where the story usually turns to, how evil the loggers are. But Rosalie's group, Jungle Keepers, has a totally different approach.
It's Conservation 2.0, and it's so smart. Instead of seeing the logger as a villain, Rosolie argues that he's just poor. He's hungry.
Making what, $15 a day for incredibly dangerous work?
Exactly. They don't hate the forest. They just need to feed their kids. So Jungle Keepers approaches it as an economic problem, not a moral one.
They basically just offer them a better job.
A much better job. They go to these guys and say, we will pay you 3 times as much, give you benefits, a uniform, steady work, but now your job is to protect the forest, not cut it.
And that works. People actually switch sides.
It works incredibly well. They trade their chainsaws for binoculars. They've now protected over 130,000 acres that way. It turns out people prefer being guardians to being destroyers if they're given a real choice.
But it can't be that easy. Because there's a new threat, right? One you can't just hire.
The narcos. This is the new dark reality. It's not just local logging anymore. It's organized crime. Cocaine growers are moving deep into the jungle.
And you can't offer a cartel a ranger job and a t-shirt.
No. The money's different. The violence is different. Rosolie is on a literal hit list now. He needs armed security. You're not just getting in the way of a poor guy's livelihood. You're disrupting a multi-billion-dollar criminal enterprise.
And caught in the middle of all of this, the loggers, the conservationists, the narcos are the uncontacted tribes.
The Mashko-Piro. The no Malay, as they call themselves.
Rosalie calls them time travelers.
It's really the only way to describe them. I mean, these are people living as their ancestors did 1,000 years ago. They used 7-foot bamboo arrows with vulture feathers. They were ghosts for decades.
But there was that big encounter recently. Over 100 of them just appeared on a riverbank.
Yeah, an incredibly tense moment. They came out asking for bananas and plantains, and there was this exchange across the river, no mole, which means we are brothers.
But that word brothers, it implies a safety that just isn't there.
Not at all. We can't romanticize this. These are warriors. Rosalie has a friend whose father was gut shot by one of those arrows. Another friend took one right through the chest.
So in this big encounter, after all the smiles and the gifts, what happened at the end?
As they were leaving, after they took the food and a machete, one of the warriors turned and fired a single arrow straight into the sand on the other bank.
A warning shot.
A very clear message. Do not follow us. And you have to understand their psychology. It's not random violence. It's generational trauma from the rubber boom a century ago when outsiders enslaved and slaughtered their people.
So in their world, any outsider is a threat.
Yes. Their entire history, passed down through generations, is outsiders mean death. They're living in an echo chamber of fear, and their violence is, to them, a rational response.
Which is just a heartbreaking dilemma. If you leave them alone, the narcos will get them. If you try to make contact, you might get killed.
There is no easy answer. There's no way to explain you're one of the good guys.
Speaking of difficult paths, I want to talk about Rosolie himself for a minute, because he had this huge public failure We have to discuss the Eaten Alive special.
Oh, the Discovery Channel debacle. It's such a lesson. He wanted to bring attention to the Amazon, but the network just turned it into this sensationalized stunt.
Where he was supposed to get eaten by an anaconda, which, spoiler, he did not.
No, the snake squeezed him so hard his arm was about to break, so he tapped out. The backlash was just nuclear.
Everybody hated him.
PETA, the public, the scientific community, he was basically exiled.
But he says it was the best thing that ever happened to him.
He calls it the spanking he needed. It destroyed his TV ambitions and forced him back into the real, on-the-ground work that became Jungle Keepers.
He has this really interesting breakdown of obsession versus discipline that got him through that period.
It's a fantastic framework for anyone, really. He says discipline is friction accepted. You hate it, but you force yourself. Motivation is friction removed. You're excited, so it's easy.
But both of those fade.
Right. Obsession, he says, is friction inverted. Meaning the pain of not doing the work is greater than the pain of doing it. You cannot not do it. For him, saving the forest isn't a job, it's a compulsion. That's what gets you through 17 years of your career being a flatline.
And then there's the Jane Goodall story.
The grace of attention. He was a total outcast, stands in a book signing line, and just hands her his manuscript. A total Hail Mary.
And she actually read it.
She read it, loved it, and endorsed it. And that one act of mentorship from someone with her gravity, it just changed everything. It opened the door for him again.
So let's bring this all home. For the person listening to this, sitting in their car or at their desk, why does this matter?
2 words. Generational amnesia.
Explain that.
We don't know what we've lost because we never saw the original. You can walk through a forest on the East Coast and think it's beautiful, but it's a ghost of what it was 200 years ago. We don't mourn what we never knew.
We accept the degraded version as normal.
Precisely. The Amazon is the last place we can see the original blueprint. It is the church of biodiversity. It's the only place in the known universe where we know for a fact that life exists with this kind of complexity.
What about all this talk of de-extinction? You know, bringing back the dodo or the woolly mammoth.
Rosolie's take on that is pretty sharp. He says you can't just command Z-extinction. A clone of a mammoth isn't a mammoth. It's a lab specimen.
Because it doesn't have a culture. A mother to teach it.
Exactly. It's just a hairy elephant with no idea how to be a mammoth. But there is a flip side.
Which is?
If we see how monumentally difficult and expensive it is to try and bring back even one species we broke, maybe it'll finally convince us to stop breaking them in the first place.
And that brings us right back to the Mist River.
We are the generation standing on that cliff. The science is clear. We get to decide if we watch that river in the sky dry up or if we do what it takes to keep the engine running.
That is the question. The Amazon isn't just some place on a map. It's the heart of the whole planet's life support system.
And saving it means realizing we have to be engaged. Actively, sometimes dangerously engaged.
A lot to think about. Next time you see the rain, think about that 20 trillion liters.
And maybe, keep your boots on in the water.
Absolutely. No electric steak knives. That's it for this deep dive. We will catch you on the next one.